We're in the studio today. I've got Polaroid's Polaroid i2, which is their professional grade Polaroid camera. It's got fully manual settings, a double exposure mode, a very sharp lens. I've also got their brand newish black and white Polaroid 600 chemistry. It's supposed to be a better formula than the previous, and I'm really excited to test it out here. We've got Jay modeling, and we're just gonna mess around with a couple packs of film and see what this camera is really capable of in the studio. I really have been looking forward to shooting on a Polaroid camera with fully manual settings. That feels like the one thing that holds back a large amount of Polaroid cameras for me is always just being automatic. I want to be able to set my shutter speed, my aperture, lock this off on a tripod and fire a photo without having to use a flash. And I'm excited to get creative with this camera today and see if I'm capable of making anything cool. Here we go. Oh. The reason I am locking it off on a tripod is so that I can be completely hands-off and actually fire the shutter with the app. This is an f8 lens, which is pretty slow for a studio situation like this. So being able to lock it off on a tripod, Jay can sit completely still and doesn't really have to be that still, but I could still shoot at like a 15th of a second and get a completely sharp image, and that's really cool. So I just use the Polaroid app on my phone and like control all of the manual settings and everything, and then press fire on my phone, never touching the camera, which will never create any image take. It's pretty cool. All right, so maybe we just start with a classic spotlight in the background with a nice light on your face. So I'm just gonna make a quick circle in Photoshop, and then I'll project that onto your face. That looks sick. And that way we can have this circle in the background, but no shadow in it. Cool. Wow, what a big ass viewfinder. So I'm gonna meter for this real quick. Polaroid film is this 640 speed? Yeah, 640 at f8. Okay, cool. So we actually have a lot of light. So I'm gonna shoot this one at f8 at a 50th of a second, which is like, you know, pretty fast. Like you can almost handhold that, but I won't. Why don't you tilt your head this way and look this way with your eyes. That looks pretty cool. Oh, it says it's underexposed. It like tells you in the app like where the exposure is. It's saying there's proper exposure. I think it's probably reading the background though. So let's try a 50th and see what happens. 3, 2, 1, and. Look at that beautiful blue color. They're coming out, you wanna see? They're gonna take a while to turn into black and white, but it looks really sharp. We can keep going with those settings. I'm excited to see what those look like when they're done processing. This is like how I do most of my stuff, is like I just project it onto someone's face and then I just like draw in colors or like erase things, and it actually looks really cool. Like it honestly kind of sometimes looks like paint if you're using really, really vibrant colors. And then sometimes it just looks too crazy, so I'll literally just like throw the lens of the projector out of focus, and that'll really help bring it together. This looks dumb though. Let me fix this. That looks pretty cool. Let's try that. So I'll zoom that in like that. Yeah, about the same still. Which is surprising because I brought the projector closer. That's always concerning when the light meter reading doesn't change when you make the light more bright, right? Okay, now it says an 80th of a second. I'm just like isolating you so you're not getting hit by this light, but it fills the background. That looks really cool. That's our frame? Yeah. Let's try that. Right there is great. 3, 2, 1. Nothing makes me feel like more of an artist than pressing a button on an app. Let's see how those other ones are doing. Look at like the distortion in the shadows. I wonder if that'll even out. All right, so let's just try a flash photo here. So what if you face your chest this way and then look over at the lens? Maybe put your hair behind your ear. Aperture priority. No, shutter speed priority. This is interesting. On this camera, you can do like shutter speed priority. So like, let's say you're not even planning on metering. If you just want to make sure it's shot at an 80th of a second, it'll like figure everything else out. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Okay, look over in this direction. Just with your face. Yeah. Why don't you bend at the hip a little bit? Yeah, like that. That's great. Oh, okay, that's almost perfect. Went a little too high. I'm kind of doing a similar thing to what I did before, where she's being lit by the projector and that light is kind of being cast over there. And then this light here is just the background light. So it's making it so we don't see her shadow at all, but she's properly lit. And then there's like a background kind of like isolating her or helping her stand out from just like a dark background. Otherwise, you'd like, have an image where everything is dark other than her face. You don't get any detail. I'm gonna meter for this one more time. F8 at 1/125th of a second. Oh, what did auto actually say? F8 at 100, so that's pretty much what my phone light meter said. F8, I would say 1/125th, but maybe we do 100. No, we can do 1/125th. Let's just try that. 3, 2, 1. Oh, forgot to turn off the flash. All right, one more. This is the last of the pack. It's telling me I've got a low battery. Let's just see what happens if we do 1/125th of a second. Last of the roll. You were very patient. That was incredible. You literally just stood still there for so long. All right, let's take a look at the other photos we made real quick. That one looks really cool though.
Yes.
You like that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, one pack down. Let's see, how many fumbles? Ooh, these ones look cool. Look at that.
Oh.
I actually think I like the one with flash more. Okay, Polaroid, I see the game. I see the game at hand. You can see this is the one with the flash. Her entire body is illuminated. There's even like a shadow on the wall. It's very sharp, but you still see that like sort of shape we made in the background. And then this one, no flash. Obviously, the only light that's part of the image is the ones that we like preset, which would be the spotlight attachment of the aperture 300C in the background, and then the projector lighting her face. And you just see there's just like instant fall off here. And they're actually so sharp. Look at that. I'm sorry I'm shaking so much. I'm just so excited. Let's load another pack. Oh, you know what we could do is we could do some stuff with just silhouettes. All right, this is just gonna be your silhouette. Face your chest towards the camera and then look that way. And why don't you put your arms behind your back and then look that way. Yeah, I like that a lot. I want you to like lean like that a little bit. Other way. Yeah, like that, and then look that way. Yeah, chin up a little. Great. And really, I want you to look, like with just your head, I want you to look like right here. Yeah. And if you want to do a silhouette shot, like a proper silhouette shot, you just expose for the light in the background. F8, 1/25th again, so we'll just run with that. 3, 2, 1, and boom. You wanna try something even crazier? All right, go stand in front of this projector real quick. Take your hair down. Thank you. All right, I'm taking iPhone photos of your shadow right now so I can project them. All right, so now I'm just gonna airdrop it to myself. Okay, drop that in. And then what I do is I go to curves and then I just crush these both directions. That's like your shadow, but it's also like warped a little bit. So go stand in it. That looks super cool, honestly. Just take one micro step back, like this way. Yeah, too far. Right there. This camera turns off after 2 seconds. Probably because it's trying to conserve battery. I didn't charge it. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna let the Polaroid app tell me what's accurate. And I was gonna shoot this at like 1/125th of a second. But if I go down to 1/25th, it doesn't have any exposure compensation showing either way. So this should be properly exposed. We will see. Flash is off. You're in the perfect spot. 3, 2, 1. I guess we'll see. We'll see how accurate this little internal meter is. The internal meter is pretty good on this camera. It seems to struggle a little bit in the studio with super contrasty light. Honestly, I don't blame it. The light that I'm using right now is the darkest shadows and the most bright highlights possible, and it's probably doing a global exposure reading. I wouldn't trust any of my fully automatic film cameras to get this exposure reading right personally, but with this specific projection, the light was so bright that it nailed it. All right, let's Let's do something with a lot of light now. Let's do a photo with this softbox. This softbox alone, like I've done digitals for people with it, just this one light, and it just creates the most beautiful diffused light I've ever seen. And it's just one light, and it's like, everything looks perfect. Okay, so for this one, why don't you, yeah, that's great. And what if you put your hair behind your ears again, and just make sure it goes all behind your back? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that looks like it's gonna be great. You've got one hair sticking up on the side there. Yeah, great. At f8, it's saying a 60th of a second. 3, 2, 1, don't move. Good, good. Next up, maybe we'll try a closer up portrait. So maybe, what if you go like this or something? Whatever feels good to you. Tilt your head a little. Yeah, like that. That's great. And I've got her like in the smaller viewfinder, which you're supposed to use when you get super close to someone. All right, 3, 2, 1. You held very still, thank you. Spotlight back on. There we go. Yeah, I just wanted something with like a little texture to it. And then look with your eyes right at the camera. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, I'm gonna meet her this time with my phone, f8 at a 50th, okay. Yeah, just look right at the camera. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it sure looks interesting. Sure looks interesting. I don't really love this photo, and it's just because it's very distracting. There's a lot going on. I don't think what I projected is really all that cool, but it's all good. That's why we're experimenting. We've got some cool options here. So this is just a silhouette. The reason I was trying to get you to turn all the way to that wall is because if not, then I wouldn't be able to see your neck there. Sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool too. This is kind of like a very dumbed down version of a photo I took a long time ago, where I kind of duplicated the same shadow over and over again and then shot a photo of it on the wall. But it looks really cool, right? That one's super dark, but honestly, when this one gets scanned, it's gonna like be really moody and cool, I think. Look at that. You like that one?
Yeah.
That's that softbox putting in work. Like the full background is illuminated. You look like properly exposed.
So good.
Still good.
Oh, yay.
I want to shoot another one with the softbox. I wanted to quickly show off what it looks like through the viewfinder. The most prevalent thing is that sort of curved box in the right-hand corner. That is specifically for when you are using close focus. If you're really close to your subject, that is your frame lines. Phone on 3%, but we still ball. 60th of a second. Let's try it. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. And just ignore me. Like look down this way. 2, 1. I didn't even take the photo. The camera took the photo at this point. I'm just pressing a button remotely from miles away. We have 7 shots left. I think we should do some more creative light stuff. So this guy's gonna come back on. F8, 15th of a second. Opening up this Polaroid app again. Yeah, that's great right there. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Love it. Let's go big with the rectangle. Why don't you like step forward a little bit? Yeah, that's dope. Okay. And now you can look over at the camera. That looks really cool. I've done this before, but let me add some more shapes to the wall. This will like look really cool, just right out of frame. I think here. Cool. And then just glance over at me. And tilt your head this way. More so like look this way. Yeah, like that. 2, 1. Ooh, this is cool too. Okay, so put your hair really behind your head. Yeah, like that. Great. I want you to hold your arm like that. Yeah. And then look down here with your eyes. Ooh, this is really cool. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, let me just make it, that's a good size. Yeah, that's nice. All right, 3, 2, 1. Love it. Three, two, one. Okay. We should have what, two left? Okay, so stand right here, and I want you to look right at the camera for this one. And why don't you go like this or something? No, maybe just like that. I feel like such a huge human being, like hobbling around with this little camera. F880, cool. Let's run it exactly how it wants us to. 3, 2, 1. And that's that. That's a wrap. The Polaroid i2. What do I think? What are my thoughts? Is it worth getting? I think that the Polaroid i2 is the best modern day, currently in production Polaroid camera. Is it the one that everybody needs? No, absolutely not. Someone who wants to shoot Polaroids casually and have one pack of 8 photos loaded into the camera for 2 months, slowly working through the shots, shooting photos of their friends, very casual use, they have plenty of cameras that are perfect for that. Now, if you're someone like me who will do a job that requires me to shoot 5 packs of Polaroid in one day, this is the camera. This is the best camera to use for that. I have been incredibly hungry to have a Polaroid camera with fully manual controls so I can lock it off on a tripod and shoot super slow shutter speed shots of very detail-oriented lighting scenarios and stuff for a long time. I'm sure some of you guys have seen my previous videos where I use the Instax back I have for my Mamiya RB67 to make double exposures, to make really beautiful portraits using the manual controls and beautiful glass on the Mamiya system, but paired and printed onto Instax film. I've always wanted something similar all in one on a Polaroid camera, and this camera satisfies that itch. I brought it with me when I directed my first music video for Orion Sun. I took it in the water with me and shot a couple portraits, and I also shot stuff in between scenes. It worked perfectly there. My friend Mika also directed a video that I helped shoot, and we shot a bunch of beautiful images on the previous black and white chemistry from Polaroid. And then lastly, this studio shoot that you just saw with Jay, where we got to shoot a bunch of really beautiful images locked off on a tripod using really interesting studio lighting just to see what this camera is capable of picking up. They came out sharp, which is great because this camera has a very advanced LiDAR autofocusing system that should work in dark situations. And for the most part, I was doing completely manual exposure. I was using a light meter app on my phone and inputting the settings on the app and then pressing fire, so that I had a completely hands-off experience with the camera, so I never shook the camera while it was trying to shoot a photo. This studio shoot is proof that this camera can be such an awesome creative tool for someone trying to make a project in the studio where they want to be meticulous about those settings. While having the app open and having your manual exposure settings on the screen, you will see in the exposure compensation setting that it'll kind of tell you if you're going to be underexposing or overexposing your image. It kind of like is like, yo, like this might be a little underexposed, but I'd never found that to be super accurate. I can't really chalk that up to this camera's auto exposure being super bad or anything. The situations we were shooting with in the studio are pretty complex lighting scenarios where you have incredibly dark shadows and then very contrasty, bright highlights. So a camera that's kind of doing like a global exposure reading might get a little confused. And in fact, I wouldn't trust any of my film cameras to do automatic exposure in my studio sessions because the lighting is so varied and contrasty. I've done it before and I've been very disappointed to find my images severely underexposed multiple times. So this camera, for the most part, has been nothing but a joy to shoot with. The autofocus seems to pretty much always hit. It seems to get pretty close to perfect exposure if you're using automatic exposure settings. I'm very impressed with this thing after using it in the studio for one of my own personal projects. My biggest gripe so far is something that I think can be changed with a software update. When we went to go shoot double exposures, we found that you can't do any manual controls with double exposures, which is just kind of baffling to me. There's a double exposure mode and there's a manual exposure mode, and the double exposure mode allows you to control three things: the EV, if the flash is on or off, and a timer. I am 1,000,000% ready to make a full video on doing double exposures on this camera as soon as Polaroid decides to software update this camera and the app, allowing people to shoot manual multiple exposures with this camera. I can see it now in the app, like when you're in the manual exposure mode, just like in the corner, it being like, how many exposures do you want to do? And just being able to choose like 1 through 4 or whatever. That would be so sick, and that would be such a fun video to revisit the i2 with. So Polaroid, please, let's make some moves there. I'm so stoked about this camera, and it is not the last time you will see this camera on the channel, for sure. Hopefully I'll get my hands on one of those Mint camera SLR 680s soon, which is pretty much Mint camera's rework of an SX70 with a shutter speed dial. I really would love to make a project and a video on that ASAP. So Mint, if you're watching, hit me up, let's talk. Yeah, another video in the books. Thank you so much to Kian for filming, Jay for modeling, and the Ivory Space for hosting me in their studio for this project. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.